Hi, this is Jaya. In this video, we shall see the summary of My Last Duchess by Robert Browning. It is said that Browning had based this poem on the historical events that involves Alfonso who lived in the 16th century. And he had written this in dramatic monologue. Dramatic monologue means one person will be narrating the incident, the poem will be said through one person, and from his narration we will be able to understand what happened before the poem started and what will happen after, and about the character of the person who is speaking, and also about the character and the reactions of the person who is in front of him. And through this one person itself we will be able to understand the whole concept. That is the dramatic monologue. And in this poem we find the Duke of Ferrara is in conversation with an envoy of a very powerful count. Now envoy is a person who will come and mediate between two persons and bring about a good result. We find out that the Duke is looking to marry the Count's daughter, and this is because he has lost his wife recently. And this Duke is showing the envoy his palace, and as they are touring around the palace, he comes across a portrait of his last duchess. And he shows this portrait to the envoy, and he also says that the painter has captured the beautiful spectacle of the Duchess glimpse. And actually the portrait was so beautiful, and also the Duchess's nature was also captured in that portrait. But he says that the happiness and the glow on the Duchess' face was not because her husband, that is the Duke, was next to her, but maybe it was because of the compliments which was given to her by the painter. And he also recalls her nature, and as he talks about her, we find that his tone is growing harsher, and he says that humans and nature together impress the Duchess, and everything impressed her and made her happy, which was not acceptable to him. He thought that she did not respect his lineage, which stands for so many hundreds of years. She was not proud that she had come into such a family. And from his speech, we understand that it was the Duke who had probably commanded to kill her. Then he accompanies the envoy back to the court, and as he is talking, he says that he is, of course, expecting a very high dowry because of his lineage, but at the same time, he also mentions that his intention is marrying the Count's daughter. And on the way, we find him showing another piece to this envoy, and from this, we understand that whatever is in his palace is something which considers as exhibiting his prestige. Now let's go to the poem and see it in detail. My Last Duchess, Robert Browning Ferrara. He starts speaking. Let us from first itself, the speaker speaks directly. That's my last duchess painted on the wall. So we understand that he is showing a painting to one person who's standing in front of him, and the painting is his last duchess. Duchess means wife of Duke. Duke, duchess, like king and queen, we say Duke, duchess. Looking as if she were alive. And he says the portrait is so beautiful that you will not think it's a painting, you will think that the duchess itself is there, as though she is alive. I call that piece a wonder. Now, Fra Pandolf's hands worked busily a day, and there she stands. So we understand that the painter who painted her is Fra Pandolf, and he was a very great painter. So he says, I had that painter to come and paint her, and he says that this portrait is a piece of wonder, and he made her to stand for one day, and the whole day he was drawing her busily. Will you sit, please? You sit and look at her. He says, will you like to sit down and look at the portrait so that you can have a good look? I said, Fra Pandolf by design, for never read strangers like you that pictured countenance, the depth and passion of its earnest glance, but to myself they turned, since none puts by that curtain I have drawn for you but I. So he says, you can sit and you can see this. So he says, I never show any strangers this portrait, because he says the curtain can be drawn only by me. That is, the painting is closed with a curtain. And he says, only for very few people I will show this portrait. Others will not be allowed even to come near this portrait. And he says, like he actually says, you have the honor of looking at this painting. And seemed as they would ask me if they durst. How such a glance came there? And he says, only to a very few people I have shown this portrait. And I think even now you want to ask the same question what others have asked. That is, how that glance came on her face. That look, that beautiful look. And he says, many people want to ask if they durst, meanings if they dare. That is, they don't have the guts to ask me how that look came on that painting. So, not the first are you to turn and ask that. So, you're not the first person who's thinking, how did the painter capture this good look? Sir, it was not her husband's presence only. So, he says, not because I was near her and so she was blushing. She was showing a happiness. It's not because I was there. Her husband is the Duke. Called the spot of joy into the Duchess' cheek. Perhaps Fra Pandolf chanced to say, her mantle laps over my lady's wrist too much, or paint must never hope to reproduce the faint half flush that dies along her throat. He says it was not that happiness in her face is not because I was standing there and she was very happy, but it must be that Fra Pandolf may have said that her mantle was covering too much of her wrist, or he would have said that how much ever paint he mixes, he was not able to bring that half flush which was along her throat. So since all these compliments was thrown to her about her beauty, maybe she was blushing in happiness because of the compliments she received from the painter. Such stuff was courtesy, he says, but when people say like this, they say only out of courtesy. She thought and cause enough for calling up that spot of joy. But she thought these compliments were so great, and that was enough to bring the spot of joy on her face. She had a heart, how shall I say, too soon made glad. And he says, about her nature, how can I say? She had a heart which made her happy instantly. Even small things made her happy. Too easily impressed. She liked whatever she looked on, and her looks went everywhere. And it was very easy to impress her. Everything impressed her because whatever she sees, she liked. And she looked everywhere. She never missed anything. She looked at everything around her. Sir, it was all one. My favor at her breast, the dropping of the daylight in the west, the bow of cherries, some official fool broke in the orchard for her, the white mule she rode with round the terrace, all and each would draw from her alike the approving speech. And he says she treated everything in the same manner. The way she expressed her happiness was same for everything. Whether it is the costliest gift which I gave, which she was wearing on her breast, or the sunset in the west, the bow of cherish which one person who was working in the office had taken from my garden itself and given to her, or the white mule on which she rode around the terrace, everything brought out the same expression of happiness from her. She will approve everything with the same speech. There was no differentiation. Whether it was nature or whether it was human beings, whether it was an ordinary person or a great person like me, or everyone we treated in the same way. She approved everyone's approach towards her in the same manner, and the expression also was the same, or blush at least. She thanked men, good, but thanked somehow, I know not how, as if she ranked my gift of 900 years old name with anybody's gift. And for everything she thanked. It was not she saw the hierarchy. She thanked everyone. Okay, good. But she thanked in the same way. What made me feel is, see, I'm coming from a 900 years old family, and this and anyone's gift, whether it's an ordinary gift, like he already mentioned about the bunch of grapes which they brought from the orchard, everything was thanked in the same way. So she did not know how to appreciate my lineage. Who would stoop to blame this sort of trifling? Now you would have thought, why can't I go and tell her that I did not like it? But he says, how can I come down? Stoop means coming down. How can I come down from my level and tell her about all these small things? Even had you skill in speech, which I have not, to make your will quite clear to such an one. Now he says, maybe you can talk to someone like that. You have the skill of telling, I don't like this. But I cannot come down from my level and tell that I don't like all this, I don't approve for that. And say, just this or that in you disgust me. Here you miss or they exceed the mark. See, maybe you can come and tell that I don't like this, or this irritates me, or here you missed something, or here you gave an excessive remark. I was not able to tell her. I noticed it, but I was not able to convey it to her. I was not able to come down from my level and talk to her and let her know that I did not like it. And if she let herself be listened on, nor plainly set her wits to yours, forsooth and made excuse. And even if I am going to go and tell her, she'll immediately give some excuse for it. Even then would be some stooping. But even then, if I had told her and if she had given some excuse, even that would appear to me as though I am coming down from my rank. And I chose never to stoop. So I decided I will not come down from my level. See, if I had told her, maybe she would have given me some excuse. But I did not want to come down from my level and give her my mind, like what I am thinking about her activities. Oh, sir, she smiled, no doubt, whenever I passed her. But who passed without much the same smile? See, whenever I passed her, she smiled at me. But she smiled in the same way at everyone who passed her. So everyone who was approaching her or passing her or near her received the same smile. There was no difference also in that. This grew. I gave commands. And this kept on going on. And so I gave commands. Then all smiles stopped together. Then her smile stopped. So here it implies that she died or she was put to death. There she stands as if alive, and now she is there looking as though she is alive in that painting. Will it please your eyes? So he says, now I think it's enough. You had a look at the painting. So can you get up? We'll meet the company below then. So now we understand that there are people waiting for them down, and he's saying, come, we'll go down and meet the people who are down. I repeat, the count your master's known munificence is ample warrant that no just pretence of mine for dowry will be disallowed. So he says, I know that your count is a very powerful person. Therefore, what dowry I am expecting will definitely be given. Though his fair daughter's self, as I avowed at starting, is my object. But I would like to say that my wish is to marry his daughter. So he says, I am expecting a very big dowry and I am sure your count will give it. But please tell him that I am interested in marrying his daughter. Nay, we'll go together down, sir. So now we understand that the person who's talking with him is trying to run down before him downstairs. And he says, wait, we'll go down together. Notice Neptune, though taming a seahorse, thought a rarity, which Claus of Innsbruck cast in bronze for me. Now as they are coming down, he shows another piece of art, which is Neptune taming a seahorse. And he says that this was made in brass by the famous artist Claus of Innsbruck. So now, just like how he showed the portrait of his duchess, his last duchess, he is proudly showing another piece of art to this person whom is talking. And from the way he is talking, we can understand the duke's nature and the duchess nature and also the whole story behind it. It's a beautiful monologue by Robert Browning. If you have anything more to add on to what I've said, please write it in the comment box, like the video, share it with your friends, and if you have not subscribed my channel, please subscribe and support. Thank you.